Are you looking for an easy way to request approval from your teammates and get some feedback, some responses, either an approval, a rejection, or a comment on your page before it goes through and gets approved? Look no further. Capable approval makes this really easy and intuitive on Confluence. So I'm going to show you just how easy it is. So here I have a project plan, and I need to go and get approval from certain people on my team. So at the most basic level, capable approval lets you manually request approval from certain people. So let's say I can select 3 people, and I could also say I only need one of them to approve. So this is good if you've got a big team and you actually only need a subset of those users to approve. You can also set up the page to expire, say a month after it's approved, a year after it's approved, or on an exact date, for example. So this makes it really easy to manage your content, after it's been approved and keep everything fresh and up to date, especially useful in specific sectors. So what I can do is click send requests. This is going to send an email. And if you've set it up, a Slack notification to those approvers, and they will be able to easily go to this page and click on the approval button at the top, which says in review. And then they can provide feedback. They can either leave a comment, they can reject or approve the page here. So in this case, I'm going to respond to my approval here, but I'd advise that you don't have yourself as an approver on your page. And you can see there, simple, the page is now approved, and I can easily see the responses when they came through. And I can also look at the audit log of this page. So I can see when the users were added, when the responses came through, and when the overall approval state changes on that page. You can add macros to the page to show people what that status is a bit more prominently. So we can add an approval macro here. So we could have a simple banner. We could show the actual status of the page. So in this case, I want to have a banner at the top. And at the bottom of the page, I'd like to have a list of those responses that we got. So as you can see, this gives us a really nice view onto that approval data directly on the page. And as you can see, because we edited the page has now gone back into approval and notifications have been sent to those users so that they can respond and give me their feedback. And you can also click here to just go back to the last approved version of that page. So that's how you request approval, but how do you actually manage this approval data in your site? So for this, there's 2 items that appear in your Confluence once you've installed capable approval. One is in the apps menu and one is in the space apps menu. The main one will show you data across your entire system. So all the approvals across your entire Confluence site. Or if you just want to see the approvals within this space, then you can click on the space app here. So this brings us to the approval dashboard. So what we can see is we have a really nice summary of all the pages in our space. And we can see that 2 of them are pending, and I can easily jump to those pages here. So this is really nice to just get a really quick view onto things. And I also have an inbox here, which I can use to actually respond to these pages directly on here without going onto the pages themselves. So from here, I could jump onto that page that we just had, and I can respond. And I can respond directly from this interface. I don't need to go onto the page itself. You can see it's now updated. Everything's approved. And you can also bulk approve or reject or comment pages from this page as well. So this is great if you're operating at scale and you need to be able to respond to multiple requests at once. So I've showed you how you can request approval manually and how you can respond to approval both on a page and within the approval dashboard view. But what about if you want to start automating things? So you don't want to do everything manually. You don't want to have to remind your team kind of what people need to be asked for approval. No worries, we've got you covered. if you jump to your space settings and in the integration section, go on to capable approval, you can see here in the approval tab that we have a load of options here. We can set up automated approvals, which means whenever a new page is created in this space, it will be automatically assigned the approval and notifications will be sent. You can also set up watchers, so people who will always be notified about these changes on any page in that space. You can override options, so you can set up an expiry across all pages. And you can also set up who can request approval. And also you can require the usage of a two-factor authentication code to actually approve or reject a page in this space. So that's great if you're a regulated industry, for example. So let's get started. Let's actually create a team, and this will be my review team. So what I can do is I can either create a space team or I can create a global team across the whole site. You will, however, need to be a Confluence administrator to create global teams. So for now, I'm going to create a space team. And I'm going to call this the engineering team. And we can give it a nice color. And we can also give it an icon as well. And then from here, I can add Confluence groups or Confluence users. So if you're using Active Directory or Azure or anything like that, like Google Workspace, you can actually pull your groups directly from your identity provider and then use those in your teams in approval for Confluence. But for now, I'm going to select individual users here. So I already know who I want in my team. Simply click create, and I've created the engineering team. And as you can see, that now shows up in the approval team section. However, we need to set this up. So we need to actually configure this within our space. So I'm going to do that now. I can set up what the minimum approvers is going to be. I can set it up to expire on a expiry date. And I can click save there. And now we've configured that approval team within this space. So it can actually be used from this space already, which I can quickly show you before we actually set up the automated approvals, what that looks like. So as you can see, if you haven't set up automated approval assignment, you will still see that list of approval teams within this list. So you can easily click on that team and it will assign all of those users and all of those settings in one go. And you can just click send. So this takes the guesswork out of your team, knowing who needs to be asked for what and what settings need to be applied. And a really useful feature is if the people in the group or the team change over time, the next time that page goes into a review state, it will actually update itself. So any users who have been deactivated or disabled or new users that have been added to the team, those will all be populated within the approval panel automatically without you having to do anything. Let's set this up for automated approval now so that we don't need to think about what needs to be done. So our team can just create pages and they automatically flow through our approval workflow. So for this, if you enable automatic approval, and then for the default team, we're going to select our team that we just created. And I'm going to click save. And now let's create a new page just to show you how this works. So once you create the page, if you give it a few seconds, and once you've reloaded the page, you'll see that now this page is in review. And actually everyone's been notified already that this page needs approval. And so people can just instantly go onto their approval dashboard or their Slack or their email inbox, and they can easily see what they need to approve. As you can see, it just works. It's intuitive. It's easy to use. And if I jump onto the space dashboard, you can see that's updated with the new data. It's showing that actually 2 of the pages have been approved and 2 are still pending. And we can see those here and here. So there's one more useful feature that I want to show in this quick demo, which is the On your Confluence dashboard, there's a new panel added when you add capable approval, which shows you pages you need to respond to. So if the email and the Slack and the dashboard weren't enough, you can also see it right here on the homepage. And you can also click open to view, get straight to that approval dashboard there. So I hope that's been useful to see how capable approval makes life a lot easier, and it's a lot more intuitive than existing solutions for this problem. And it brings everything under one roof. It also supports publishing, which I'll go into in a separate video. But broadly, if you want to actually separate your draft unverified content from your verified content, you can use publishing to do this.